I'm hearing it, but I'm not listening to it. I'm just acting. Men just act, and women can't do anything about it. If men just act and they stop communicating, women can't do anything about it, bro. They can't. They literally can't. All it takes is just enough men to just start acting and completely just, we no longer care what women are saying. We're not listening. Don't care. Don't care about the guilt. Don't care about the shame. The tactic has been seen through since our mothers first employed the tactic on us when we were, 5 years old. We've had countless run-ins with females, relationships that did the same thing. All of society does the same thing. We got women coming on Fox News doing the same thing. Childless women, by the way, in their 30s. One of them's in their, she's 50s or 40s or something.
This man fed up.
Getting on here, talking about what men should be, what men. They're completely lost touch. They have lost touch, bro. They're absolutely delusional, and they don't see that everything that they do now, what they did, only just makes it worse for women. It will only just make it worse. I promise you, when men are fed up, there's no communicating with this. There's only action. We only act. And you will feel the absolute consequence, the agony of that action, of not being listened to anymore, of men seeing what you really are and staying away from you at all costs now. Women in mass, bro. All these feminist, masculinized women, which is almost all of them, they're just going to be avoided at all costs. And they're just going to be yapping. You can't do that. It's just screaming into the wind. It's just the fading, dying cry of a species of women that was an abomination, that needs to die. Not the women. The women don't need to die. But their behavior, the type, the way that they act, the way that they think needs to die. That's what needs to die.
Man.
And it'll only be realized, they will only realize it. Women only learn through, you have to teach them a lesson. They have to learn through consequence. They won't learn if you just communicate. You're trying to communicate. Who communicates with women still? Trying to communicate to them oh, you guys just need to be this. Oh, you just need to be that. No, women don't learn that way. They only learn, they're like children, bro. They only learn if you punish them, if you give them consequences. If you say, you know what? We're avoiding you guys now. You guys don't get to have children. You guys don't get to be entertained. We're not paying attention to you anymore. We want nothing to do with you anymore. And you'll deal with that. You'll deal with just nothing. You'll get nothing. And you'll be, you won't be happy. You'll be miserable.
I mean, relishing it.
We're prepared. You know what men are prepared to do? Men are prepared to just be single for the rest of their lives, bro. We don't care. It's more important to us to be masculine and who we are than it is to have kids and start families with absolute abominations. Are you fucking kidding me? Get out of here. I'll gladly be single for the rest of my life. Gladly. Dealing with these villains out here, get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
So let's take what he said in good faith and, really believe that he's standing on what he said. I don't see, I didn't see from his delivery that he was hurt. And I know somebody is going to say that, but I want to remove that part because everybody's experienced some degree of hurt that brought them some level of closure about their current situation. But what I want to talk about is how what he is saying is about what I've been predicting was going to take place years ago, which is why the book, is what it is back here, accountable masculinity. And we're going to talk about rule number 2 and how his video directly reflects what rule number 2 is about. the no arguing with women, because eventually men start realizing that there's no value in trying to convince women of their point of view. They just accept that they're not going to get reciprocation, because men experience abstinence on reciprocation from women far differently in the younger part of their life, from probably say ages probably school age all the way to about maybe 25 to 30 years old, depending on how the man matures. And a lot of women experience that same type of abstinence from attention from men in the back half of their life, when they're probably late 30s to 40s. But what I want to focus on was the fact that his tone, and the fact that he sat down and took this opportunity to record a video and let everybody know that he has reached the closure piece of trying to impress women that don't appreciate it, you know. And he spoke about the behavior. So a lot of people get wrapped up into, well, so and so hates women, or however they take it, and they treat it as, oh, it's misogyny, or it's somebody's hurt. But let's just treat it at face value. People do grow tired of trying to meet some sort of standard that might be delusional, and that's typically where boundaries take place, you know. And I do agree with him. Men care about becoming the most masculine version of themselves. Heterosexual men do. And when you start thinking about, well, which men give the most life to the women that he described, and it's usually men that are looking for a toxic codependency with women. And most people like to call them simps. They like to call them, whatever they call them, typically it's going to be part of the mama's boy community when it comes down to it. But these types of, expect more vocal men to start talking about how they've divested from trying to please women that don't reciprocate, women that don't have helpful behavior, women that make it difficult to be the best version of themselves to a relationship, and men are not going to argue with someone that won't listen to them, because ultimately a man still has to figure out what his needs are, has to get his needs met, and he'll deal with that in the most transactional way possible to minimize conflict, and also not be a burden to anyone either. Nobody, I think people rarely talk about how men intrinsically do not want to be a burden to anybody, and yet they still keep encountering women with poor emotional regulation that make men like this guy create content like this, and pretty much prove the point that, some people are more attracted to chaos and men are not. And the ones that are attracted to chaos are generally raised by women. Men are problem solvers, and we want to be in a space where we have the most clarity so we can make the best decisions possible, so we can sleep at night knowing that we did the right thing and we had the best intentions. And outcomes are always the proof. Outcomes are always the proof. So if you're not getting the outcomes that you set out, and you start looking at what are you doing wrong, you work from within, don't forget to look outside of yourself, because it's not all on you. Because eventually you got to see that, can you be more productive with your goals and your purpose? It's men with purpose definitely are not going to be in an argumentative relationship. They're not going to be in a combative situation, because their purpose is even higher than them, which is above the relationship. And the very point of having a purpose is so that you can make an impact. Most men believe that they're meant to make an impact in the world. And you're not going to do that with the wrong woman. You're not going to do that with the wrong circumstances involving that woman who cannot emotionally regulate herself, and after men get through struggling to vet, the women that he can attract, he holds himself accountable and takes himself out of the picture, and he makes the best move possible so that he is not a burden to anyone else. This is what accountability actually looks like, and a lot of people are not familiar with that. And a man has to have that for himself, even if the other person is expected to have it for himself too. So, with that being said, what did I leave out? What did I miss? Did he miss? What type of points did he leave on the table? That's what the comments are for. That's where I need you to be. And that's where I expect you to help me improve. This has been another episode of Beyond the Algorithm. I'm your internet stepdaddy at gmail.com. Catch the book. You see it right there. Go get it off of Amazon. And I will see you beyond the algorithm. Thanks for watching.